Hi, today we're going to introduce break and retest and the sweep. Welcome to Mindful Trading. All right, here we are on our chart again, and we're on our 1 hour time frame that we found before. So what we'll do first is take a look at our screen and review some of the technical analysis tools that we talked about before. We discussed trend lines and 3-bar reversals, so hopefully you've been practicing those. Remember that we want 3 touches for our trend line, so we'll come over here to our toolbar, or we could come up here to our favorites bar. If you have starred some favorites, you might have your favorites bar up here or wherever you'd like to place it on your chart. I like to have mine kind of up here off to the side. And so I'm going to find my tool, my trend line tool, and click it. And then I'm going to look for an area where we have 3 places that touch, and I think I found one right here. So we can see that price has touched this trend line here in 1 area, 2, 3, and actually up here, 4. So we've got 4 touches on this trend line. And we talked about changing our colors for our trend lines and other tools before, and I think that what I'm going to do, since we're on a 1 hour time frame, and we've already determined that in the 1 hour time frame, I'm going to be using the color orange, and you might be using that same color too. So since I've drawn this trend line on a 1 hour time frame up here, then I'm going to change this color of my line to orange. And then when I look at it, even on other time frames, I will know that this trend line is referring to the 1 hour chart. Okay. All right. And let's see if we can find any 3-bar reversals here while we're reviewing. I think that I see one right here. Here's 1, 2, 3. So what I could do is, so that in order to practice, I could come over and get a circle and place it right here to show that I found a 3-bar reversal. So there's 1, because I can see the first candle here, the green candle, and then I can see my upside down hammer, which is pushing away from this resistance area, and then I see this engulfing black candle, which means price is decreasing or going down. All right. Let's see, and the next thing that we are going to talk about is a break and retest of a trend line or support and resistance. So we talked a little bit about this before, but I don't think that we called it break and retest. So generally, when you see a break and retest, it's going to break a certain area or a certain support and resistance area and then come back up and test it, and that's called a retest. So you can see here that price went down and it sort of consolidated for a while in this area and then retested this support resistance area. And you could draw this with one of your tools. This is called the path tool. So you could click on that and start here where price begins. It travels down here to this area and comes back up here to test this support and resistance line and then continues downward. So you can see that that is a break and a retest. All right. And so this is one of the ways that you can determine how price is moving and whether or not you'd like to take a sell or a buy. So once price breaks the area of support, it comes back up here to the area of resistance and retest. This might be a good area to take a sell if you see that there's either a 3-bar reversal, which you can find up here, or if you see an engulfing black candle. So you can see that once price kind of touches up here, we've got a reversal forming. Okay. And we can see that this green candle here is not becoming engulfed by one candle, but by a series of candles here, which may give you an indication that price is getting ready to go down, continue downward, all right, or continue to the downside. Okay, So here I've clicked on the 15-minute time frame. So instead of the 1 hour, I've gone over and clicked on the 15-minute area right here. So you can either, that may already be in your list of favorites, or you may need to go to this time interval little drop-down menu and continue until you see 15 minutes. Okay, so here we have an example of the sweep on a 15-minute time frame. And so what is a sweep? A sweep happens when the market briefly breaks a significant price level, like support or resistance, and we can see that we have our orange support and resistance line here, and then it quickly reverses. And what I'll do is use our horizontal ray that we used before to show where this old wick is. And I like to use a magnet tool sometimes also because it kind of takes it right to the tip of that wick. And when you click on it, there it is. And so you can see that the very top of this wick is right there. And you'll notice over here how price has gone just above it and then continue to the downside. All right, so that's one area. What's one example of a sweep? Here's another one here. Here's some tiny little wicks here, and you can see how price went up and cleaned out that area. So I'll draw those wicks here. And you can see how price just went right above it, just barely above it, and then you see an engulfing black candle, and then it continues to the downside. Remember to also, if this has been helpful to you at all, please remember to like and, most importantly, subscribe. Subscribing to our channel and liking it really helps the channel to grow and get good reach to people who might also find it useful. Thanks so much. All right, I like to make my sweep lines purple. So if I see like a little wick pointing up at a strong area of resistance and support, I might use my horizontal ray to create a liquidity sweep point that looks like this one. And they call it liquidity because that's where a lot of people's stops might be. Those people who are shorting the market might have a stop there. And we know that price later on is likely to come back to this area and sweep it. Okay, all right. And collect that money, basically, is what it's doing. Okay, so let's practice our trend line, finding trend lines, finding 3-bar reversals, looking for a break and retest in the market. And we'll do all that on the 1 hour and then on the 15-minute chart. So this is the 1 hour chart, and then you're going to switch over to a 15-minute chart and see if you can identify some areas of liquidity where there's some long wicks or little wicks in these support zones. And you can draw your liquidity lines like that and see if price comes back and sweeps that area in the future. Okay. All right, thanks so much for joining us today, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.